If you're a buyer in today's market, you're just thinking about buying, you probably don't know which way to go. You're confused and you're hearing a lot of conflicting data depending on where you're getting your news and your information from. The media and headlines are reporting things such as, the market is tanking, home prices are dropping, like this article here. And what do you believe? And then you have agents and realtors like myself saying, that's not what we're seeing. Here's what's going on in the market. We're seeing multiple offers. So, what do you believe? And when I talk about real estate being hyper local, again, I mentioned it a lot of videos recently that is very accurate. Now, a lot of these companies, they're looking at it as a whole. And I don't get married to one avenue or another, but what I do like to pay attention to is the data, the metrics, the numbers, and the trends that we are seeing. And right now in Phoenix Metro, just like I've mentioned in other videos, the trend is trending upward. For what we're seeing, we are seeing multiple offers. I've just experienced it twice in the last week, and I'm going to go over those stories and relate what exactly we're seeing in this market if you're a buyer or a seller, and then just the trends in general. So that way, if you are thinking about making a move, that you are represented and taken care of, at least you have the most information possible. And I don't want someone to make a decision because they feel pressured to, or they feel like they have to. Most people, most of my clients are buying a home because they want that home. They want the experience of living in that home and they can afford it. Affordability is the number one factor because despite what we're seeing, homes are not more affordable now than they were, even with the low rates because of the prices that have gone up since COVID. Now they are, and with rates being over 7%. Now again, one of my favorite reports, the Cromford report. Just gonna run through this real quick before we get into things. Everything is trending upward. So if you're a seller, you should feel pretty comfortable, and you should like to see this compared to what we had in the fall when there was a lot of despair and a lot of panic amongst sellers. And when I say sellers, if you are a seller, you need to be a motivated seller. You can't just test. I mean, you can do whatever you want, but if I'm going to work with a seller, I'm not working with a seller who's just going to test the waters, see what they can get, and want to overprice their home. I would not be doing my job if I allowed a seller to do that and me work with them. So if that's your angle as a seller, I can put you in touch with some other agents, but it's not going to be me. So again, what we're looking at here is, sorry about the scrolling and my wife texting me, uh, is month supply of inventory is down, which is good for a seller. Listings under contract up quite a bit, 8,700 last month and 6,400 last quarter. So again, trending in the right direction for this market gives some sellers some hope, and buyers, you're probably feeling like, well, what does this mean for me? Rates are higher. Prices and home sales should be stalling. And usually, yeah, that is a typical correlation that you see, but the numbers and data just aren't showing it. And if I were a betting man and someone said, hey, Rich, rates are going from 3% or whatever they were all the way up to 7, 8. Oh, I'm like, oh yeah, prices are going to tank and the market's going to get flooded with inventory. And that's just not what we're seeing. Now, we did see a pullback, when average home price here peaked in May, and then rates started going up then, and then into the late summer, early fall, we did see that pullback in home prices, average sales price. But as you see here, it has gone up. Now we're at 532 as of today over the last month. And then last month we were at 515, last quarter 523. But you can see that drop from last year. And a lot of people are like, well, when's the bottom? I'm like, well, if you look at this, it was a month ago. But did we get to the bottom already, or are we going up just a little and then going to drop down? I wish I had the answer for that. And I can only, again, go from what the trends see and what I'm seeing actually with boots on the ground. And I'm going to get into that in a second. Real life situation. Here's what we're seeing with offers and clients. And then the Cromford Market Index of 130. Remember, 100 is balanced, and above that is a seller's market. So again, last quarter, rates have peaked up, inventory jumped up, and we were at 89. So that's when some buyers they were, again, the same buyers was like, oh, we're going to wait for it to fall more. I'm like, well, how long are you going to wait? Again, I don't want to pressure anyone to anything. I just want to ask better questions. So you may be asking, well, if rates are going up, then why why aren't home prices dropping? And a lot of the sellers are locked into their home, almost married to their home. Now, if you bought a home, and I mentioned this before, so say it's 5 years ago and you refinance and you're at a 30-year fixed at 3%. So now you're taking your home you live in for X amount of dollars at a low rate to trade up. That's what most people do when they buy homes here. When you live here and you're buying another, you're usually upgrading. So now you're going to buy a home that is much more expensive than you could have bought 5 years ago. And now your rate is going to be that much more. So a lot of those sellers, unless they're truly motivated, they don't want to sell. Or if they do, they're just going to throw a high price and put a sign in the yard, and they're not truly motivated. And those are the ones that we're seeing not come off the market. Over the last month or two, I've walked away from 5 different listings where the seller had this number in mind that there is no data to support, and there's no way it would sell. For example, they had a ranch and they wanted to look at a 2 story that was more updated and almost twice as big, and of course is going to sell more. And they thought theirs should be priced similar. I'm like, well, I'm not going to agree to that. Again, it's your home. Do what you wish. And they said, well, we're not really motivated. We just want to see what we can get. I'm like, well, I'm uh, I am not in the business. I am for profit. Shocking as that sounds, I know most people don't talk about that, but I'm here to make money for myself and for my clients. And I would not be doing you a service if I lied to you and said, oh yeah, we can get that price. So that is a whole nother story. But speaking of offers and the market, so the homes that are selling are good location, good condition, and priced correctly, in line with the market or even slightly below. So I had 2 clients, 2 separate clients, 2 separate price points, one in the East Valley, one in the West. So West Valley, we're in Goodyear. They love this home and wanted to make an offer. It was priced well, and talked to the agent, and they had 7 other offers, which is shocking. I mean, who would have thought, right? Rates have gone up. Why would there be 7 offers? And we were surprised. They were surprised. So what they were comfortable with was unfortunately not enough to get this home under contract. And I get it, especially it's their first offer. And so it sold. And I haven't not found out what the actual price is, but I do know it is a number that is higher than their list price. So if you're just paying attention to what big media is saying, like that's not a thing. Home prices are falling. Why would that get above list? And then I had another client in the East Valley. This home was listed in the 700s. They went slightly above. We had some better terms, and my client did end up getting that over 6 other offers. And this is the strategy we used to get that. They were super happy. Again, who would have thought? But the home that they chose was a home they absolutely loved and they could afford it. It was within their means. They were not shopping at the top of their budget. So that's something you have to keep in mind of when you're buying a home. Do not stretch yourself so thin that it's going to be stressful. And don't buy a home banking on refinancing because we don't know what the market is going to do. And the last thing I want is someone just buying a home thinking they're going to refinance. So, real quick, I want to jump over to this Cromford index. So, this is the supply index. And as you see these trends all the way up into the 200s. And if you remember, value above 100 indicates an excess supply of unsold homes, and below 100 indicates a shortage. So, '06, '07, you see a lot of inventory, and then it dipped, and then COVID times, we were in the 30s. So, hardly any homes, we all know that. And then here we go when rates started to trickle upward. Do things trickle upward? I don't think so. Sorry, I've been dieting and I'm hungry today. uh, and then they went up. So people are like, oh man, it's trending upward. We're getting a lot of inventory. But as you see, we still weren't above 100. But then now they have started to fall. And we are, as of this report, at 64. But that is just one piece of it. Because if you looked at demand first, and if you remember, demand, so values above 100 indicates slightly higher than normal demand. So you have a lot of people wanting that product. Below 100, not a lot of demand. Again, if we look in the 21, 22 area, we have all the way up to 135, 120, so well above. And then it started to fall, just like the other reports showed in May and June, and it wasn't much demand. But since January, we've seen an uptick in the demand. And because of that, and that is happening because of when rates fell. But if you just look at this, like, well, demand's still below 100, but when you have supply that is also low, that is kind of working together for sellers despite the high rates. And then Cromford Market Index, which I've talked about quite a bit. I don't know if I've shared this graph, but 100 is balanced, above sellers, below buyers. And you can see here in 07, 08, it is below 50. So if you're a seller then, I feel for you or felt for you. It wasn't fun. And then we go here when everyone wanted to buy a house and give whatever they want, trade their wives in for it, above 100. And then it started to fall. But it never really fell below, 80. And now we're trending upward as a market, and we're at around 130. So what does this mean moving forward? What are we going to see? Well, looking at the trend and the supply and demand, despite what the rates are doing, there's enough people wanting to buy homes and still a lack of homes that we're seeing multiple offers. We're seeing homes come off. Now, again, that is not saying every home listed is getting those multiple offers. Has to have some things going for it. But the number of homes that are under contract is trending upwards, so is the average sales price. And this is, as of today, live, real data. Here's single family active homes for sale in our market, 11,602, down from 17,500 in the fall and up from 21, 22, early 22, but still below normal. I'm going to pull up the stats here that show these are homes for sale, not under contract, not sold. So out of the 11,600, the average list price right now in our entire market, average 910, and on average those have been on the market for around 3 months. The median is around 527, and been on the market about 49 days, a median. And the cheapest home is 25 grand. Most expensive is that monstrosity, that huge mansion in Paradise Valley for $75 million. So quite a bit of, of difference there, but those are the numbers. And we're seeing with percent sold price to list price is in the mid to high 90s. So we'll keep an eye on this number to see. But again, the lack of demand, or I'm sorry, lack of supply is really driving this market. So we'll see what happens. But again, when you have sellers who have homes that they like, that are cheap enough to afford in a low rate, it's keeping them from listing their home to upgrade. So that will help keep inventory low. Again, I don't pick sides. I'm just reporting the numbers and what we're actually seeing in real life, real data. And with all of my clients moving here from all over the country with as many job relocations, I see it continuing to go. I think this year is going to be a very interesting year, but I suspect it to be my best year in real estate in 10 years. So I know it's my other colleagues, not all of them are seeing the same thing with their own business, but just what we're feeling, the reach outs I'm getting, the conversations I'm having behind the scenes. So, let me know in the comments, what do you think is going to happen? And don't just say, oh, rates are up, home prices are going to fall, there's going to be a crash. Like, give me something real. And I don't care if you disagree with me, you will not hurt my feelings. I'm when I get sad, I just go to the gym and try and get a little stronger so my wife doesn't beat me up. But I hope you guys have a good day. This is Friday, March 10th. I can't believe it. If you guys need anything, reach out, follow me on Instagram, send me an email. And thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one.